In a recent public statement, global music icon Taylor Swift has directly addressed the wave of discussion surrounding a specific, risque song she wrote, which fans and critics have widely interpreted as a playful tribute to the masculinity of her partner, NFL star Travis Kelce. Reflecting on the song's creation, Swift openly admitted that the track's development was a journey of creative escalation. She revealed that the initial concept for the song was actually quite modest and harmless, originating from a place of innocent inspiration. However, as she delved deeper into the writing process, she found herself getting increasingly carried away by the creative flow, ultimately leading to the far more suggestive and bold final product that has since sparked so much conversation. This past Friday marked the highly anticipated release of the latest album from pop megastar Taylor Swift, titled The Life of a Showgirl. Among the track list, one song in particular has immediately captured public attention for its overtly sexual and uninhibited lyrical content. The subject of the song appears to be a very intimate and physical tribute, with its lyrics strongly suggesting that it is dedicated to the anatomy of her fiancé, NFL star Travis Kelce, making it one of the most talked about and provocative pieces on the new record. The revelation sent a ripple of stunned disbelief through her fanbase last week, as collective analysis and decoding of the lyrics culminated in a widespread and breathless aha moment across social media platforms. The boldness of the imagery was not lost on the audience, marking a significant and audacious departure from her more traditionally veiled songwriting. This collective surprise was then directly echoed and amplified by the artist herself during her Monday night appearance on The Jimmy Fallon Show, where, with a characteristically clever mix of sheepishness and swagger, she joked that she had even surprised herself by venturing into such a brazen and raunchy creative territory. This self-aware admission served to heighten the song's impact, framing its explicit nature not as an accidental overshare but as a deliberate, and for her, a daring artistic leap into uncharted emotional and physical honesty. She went on to elaborate on the song's surprisingly provocative evolution, detailing how its origins were far more innocent than the final product would suggest. "So I brought this into the studio and I was like, I want to do a throwback, timeless-sounding song, and I had this idea about I gotta knock on wood and it would be all these superstitions," she explained. And it really started out in a very innocent place. However, as the creative process unfolded, the track clearly took on a life of its own, veering from its folksy superstitious core into decidedly more intimate and daring territory. With a shrug and a laugh that acknowledged the dramatic pivot, she concluded, "I don't know what happened, man," perfectly capturing the sense of amused, almost bewildered surrender to the creative muse that led her to such unexpectedly raunchy heights. Completing the story of the song's unexpected transformation, she described the organic and almost inexplicable creative journey, remarking, "I got in there, we started vibing and I don't know how we got here." This off-the-cuff admission beautifully captured the magic and mystery of the collaborative process, where initial concepts can unravel and reweave themselves into something entirely unforeseen under the influence of a shared rhythm and inspiration. Yet, despite the playful bewilderment at how a superstitious throwback idea morphed into her most explicitly charged track, she affirmed her ultimate satisfaction with a heartfelt, "But I love the song so much," signaling that while the path there was a surprise, the daring and authentic destination was a triumph she fully embraces. The track's unabashed celebration of physical intimacy and its playful, metaphor-rich depiction of Kelce's manhood inevitably sparked controversy online last week, revealing a sharp divide in listener reception. While many fans applauded the artistic fearlessness, the song also drew vocal criticism from certain corners of the internet, with Barstool Sports founder Dave Portnoy emerging as a prominent detractor who publicly expressed his disgust with the lyrical content. His vehement reaction underscored the polarizing nature of Swift's new artistic direction, proving that her foray into such explicitly charged territory was not just a creative surprise but a cultural flashpoint that few, including the artist herself, could have anticipated when first knocking on wood in the studio. Adding a layer of performative critique to the online controversy, Barstool Sports founder Dave Portnoy, despite being a self-proclaimed Swiftie, weighed in with a video on X that expressed his visceral disapproval. In the clip, he outlined his strategy for dealing with the track, stating, "Gonna snap through it right away and get into the next thing, life of a showgirl." However, this claimed dismissal was immediately undercut by his own admission of the song's insidious catchiness, as he confessed, "I've probably listened to it 3 or 4 or 5 times. This contradiction perfectly encapsulated the song's polarizing effect. Even for those who publicly denounced its raunchy lyrics, there was an undeniable musical allure that forced repeated, if reluctant, engagement, proving the track's ability to command attention whether through admiration or exasperated critique. Having publicly dismissed Swift's provocative new track, Portnoy swiftly attempted to pivot the conversation back to his preferred narrative, using his platform to champion a different artist entirely. Without further ado, I have my top 5 songs from Life of a Showgirl. So here we go, he announced, proceeding to methodically list his rankings. Number 5, Honey. I Like It. Number 4, Eldest Daughter. Number 3, Life of a Showgirl. Number 2, Fate of Ophelia. And my favorite song on the entire album is Opalite. This deliberate and detailed curation of an alternative top 5 list served as his definitive rebuttal to Wood, positioning the entire Life of a Showgirl album as a more palatable, and in his view, superior body of work. The segment ultimately framed his criticism not just as a moment of disgust, but as a conscious act of critical redirection, aiming to steer his audience's attention toward what he deemed a more worthy musical subject. After meticulously listing his top 5, Portnoy zeroed in on his favorite, Opalite, to elaborate on its hit potential, stating, "I think that has a chance to be hit. Very cool song." He painted a vivid picture of its appeal, describing it as happy-go-lucky, dancing through the lightning strikes, and openly admitted, "I can see myself singing along." This full-throated endorsement, however, was immediately undercut by a moment of strategic hesitation as he prepared his audience for a qualification, adding, "Now, there is a caveat." By ending his critique on this cliffhanger, Portnoy masterfully maintained his role as a discerning tastemaker, whose praise, even at its most enthusiastic, is never given unconditionally, thereby framing his entire commentary as a balanced and carefully considered judgment in contrast to the unrestrained nature of the song he originally set out to dismiss. In a stunning reversal that perfectly captured the complex and often contradictory nature of the song's impact, Portnoy then directly contradicted his own performative disgust by confessing, "I really did like the song. With the first couple of times I listened to it, it hooks you right away." This admission completely reframed his earlier criticism, revealing that his initial, genuine reaction was one of captivated enjoyment, pulled in by the track's undeniable catchiness. He further solidified his paradoxical position within the fandom by adding, "You know, I'm on message boards chopping it up with the Swifties," a statement that painted him not as a mere outsider but as an engaged, if contentious, member of the community. This entire sequence, from visceral disgust to a confession of being hooked, all while claiming a seat at the Swiftie table, ultimately revealed less about the song's quality and more about the internal conflict it can inspire, a battle between the instinctive, foot-tapping appeal of a masterful pop hook and a subsequent, more calculated critique of its brazen lyrical content. The entire convoluted saga of Portnoy's critique reached its logical and humorous conclusion as he laid bare the fundamental conflict that ultimately soured his enjoyment of the song. He articulated the moment of disillusionment that followed his initial, hook-driven pleasure, stating, "What is this song about? It's about Travis's D***." This blunt epiphany forced a jarring recontextualization of the very lyrics he had once appreciated, leading him to note with dawning alarm, "And then you re-listen and there's redwood tree and hard rock." Once the playful metaphors were decoded into a unified, unmistakable theme, his earlier foot-tapping engagement transformed into staunch resistance. The review ended on a note of final, performative defiance. "No, I'm not bopping and weaving to a song about Travis D***." A declaration that sought to draw a firm line, yet could not entirely erase the confession that the song had, in fact, hooked him right away, proving the very power of the track he was now so vehemently attempting to reject. While the song's explicit nature succeeded in shocking a significant portion of her own fanbase, the artist herself provided the crucial context for its creation during her appearance on Fallon's show. Alongside her playful bewilderment at the track's raunchy evolution, the songstress, who had happily revealed her engagement to Kelce just months prior in August, seamlessly shifted tones to gush about her fiancé, affectionately calling him her favorite person. This heartfelt admission served as the ultimate key to understanding the bold lyrics. The physical intimacy and daring metaphors were not merely for shock value, but were portrayed as the natural, jubilant expression of a profound and cherished love, framing the entire controversy as a celebration of finding her perfect match after a long streak of romantic misfortune. The conversation on Fallon's show seamlessly wove together the threads of her provocative art and her palpable personal joy. While explaining the song's origins, the Karma hitmaker couldn't help but gush about her fiancé, her favorite person, and even showcased the stunning symbol of their commitment, a massive engagement ring reportedly costing between $700,000 and $1 million. She went on to share the charmingly intimate story of how the nervous Chiefs tight end orchestrated the proposal in his own backyard, a down-to-earth setting that stood in stark, sweet contrast to the glittering jewel and the global superstardom they both inhabit. This entire narrative arc, from the raunchy, liberated lyrics of Wood to the display of the priceless ring and the tender proposal story, painted a complete picture of an artist who is not only creatively fearless but is also publicly, and unapologetically, thriving in a love that is both emotionally profound and physically exhilarating. The release of Wood sent shockwaves through the music world, with its astonishingly raunchy lyrics about Travis Kelce, rife with metaphors like magic wand and redwood tree, leaving even devoted Swifties taken aback. During her appearance on The Jimmy Fallon Show, Taylor Swift herself seemed to acknowledge the song's daring departure, joking about how it surprised her after originating from an innocent concept about superstitions and a throwback, timeless-sounding song. She marveled at the creative detour, admitting, "I got in there, we started vibing and I don't know how we got here. But I love the song so much." This artistic boldness sparked immediate controversy online, exemplified by Barstool Sports founder Dave Portnoy, a self-proclaimed Swiftie, who voiced his disgust, claiming he wouldn't bop and weave to a song about Kelce's anatomy, despite contradictorily confessing the track hooks you right away and that he'd already listened to it several times. Amidst the chatter about the song's provocative nature, the conversation on Fallon's show took a sweeter turn, with Swift gushing about Kelce, her favorite person, and her engagement. The moment culminated in a dazzling visual aid as she showed off her massive engagement ring, with Fallon inspecting the incredible piece of jewelry on her finger, saying he was blinded by it as the singer happily explained that she looks at the ring constantly, weaving together the threads of her provocative art and her palpable personal joy. The entire narrative of Taylor Swift's provocative new song Wood and the personal joy that inspired it found its perfect origin story during her chat with Jimmy Fallon. After the initial shockwaves from the track's raunchy lyrics, which left fans and critics like Dave Portnoy reeling, Swift provided the heartwarming context, gushing about her fiancé Travis Kelce as her favorite person and showcasing her magnificent, blinding engagement ring. She then unveiled the charmingly specific details of the proposal, sharing how the nervous Chiefs tight end orchestrated the moment right after she recorded an episode of his New Heights podcast, transforming his own backyard into the site of their life-changing commitment. This intimate revelation seamlessly connected the dots between her professional and personal worlds, illustrating how a routine professional collaboration was immediately followed by the deepest of personal pledges, thereby giving fans the ultimate key to understanding the liberated and celebratory passion that defines the entire narrative of Taylor Swift's provocative new song Wood and the personal joy that inspired it found its perfect origin story during her chat with Jimmy Fallon. After the initial shockwaves from the track's raunchy lyrics, which left fans and critics like Dave Portnoy reeling, Swift provided the heartwarming context, gushing about her fiancé Travis Kelce as her favorite person and showcasing her magnificent, blinding engagement ring. She then unveiled the charmingly specific details of the proposal, sharing how the nervous Chiefs tight end orchestrated the moment right after she recorded an episode of his New Heights podcast, transforming his own backyard into the site of their life-changing commitment. This intimate revelation seamlessly connected the dots between her professional and personal worlds, illustrating how a routine professional collaboration was immediately followed by the deepest of personal pledges, thereby giving fans the ultimate key to understanding the liberated and celebratory passion that defines the unexpectedly daring, yet profoundly loving, anthem. The narrative of Taylor Swift's provocative song Wood and the personal joy that inspired it found its perfect, heartwarming origin story during her chat with Jimmy Fallon. After the initial shockwaves from the track's raunchy lyrics, which left fans and critics like Dave Portnoy reeling, Swift provided the emotional context, gushing about her fiancé Travis Kelce as her favorite person and showcasing her magnificent engagement ring. She then painted a vivid picture of the proposal that occurred right after she recorded an episode of his New Heights podcast, recounting his uncharacteristic vulnerability with a tender smile. She recalled him saying, "My heart's racing," and added, "I've never seen this dude nervous, ever." This rare glimpse of the famously confident athlete's anxiety made the moment profoundly authentic, perfectly explaining the liberated and celebratory passion of Wood. The song, with its redwood tree and magic wand metaphors, is thus framed not merely as a raunchy track, but as the unapologetic artistic expression of a transformative love, born from a moment of pure, nervous, and utterly genuine commitment in his backyard.